Hello everybody, thanks for clicking on this video. Today I would like to unbox with you 9 plants that I ordered from my Dutch grower. So without further ado, let's get right into the box. Now these plants come from a Dutch grower and as you can see they are so well wrapped. And the first new plant is this Philodendron Nangari fuzzy petiole, for which I paid 15 euros. Now, as usual, I'm quite amazed how such a big plant can survive shipping without even one single damaged leaf. And this is even more the case with this plant that decided apparently to grow horizontally instead of vertically. I'm counting at least 15 leaves and at least 2 new leaves that are on the way. And you can also see the fuzziness on the stems of the bigger leaves. And all I can say is that I got a huge specimen in great shape. So this is a perfect start. Let's see about the other plants that are in the box. And by the way, as you will see, all these plants come already potted up, which in my opinion is a very big plus. The second plant in the box is this Philodendron Cream splash, for which I paid 22 euros. I would consider this quite expensive for such a small plant, but considering that this plant is hardly ever available in my country, which is Belgium, I decided to go for it and buy it anyway. This plant looks in good shape and it definitely reminds me of another philodendron favorite, which is the Philodendron Brazil. Although the leaves on this cream splash seem more thick and leathery than the leaves on the Philodendron Brazil. Now, since I ordered a second specimen of this plant that I should receive anytime soon, I will let one trail down and one I will let climb up just to see whether I can get bigger leaves by letting it grow on a moss pole or a stick. We will see. So overall, I am pretty happy about this second baby plant. Now, the third plant in the box is actually one of the most expensive plants that I have ever bought. This is the Philodendron Thai Sunrise, for which I paid 67 euros. Now, I'm not a big expert on variegated plants, and I always get a little bit scared when I get a plant with just a couple of leaves. I think here we have 4 leaves and 1 growing point, but at least the 4 leaves that it has seem to be in pretty good shape. Now, I don't know whether it's a coincidence or not, but a couple of times that I bought a relatively expensive plant, they turn out to be quite difficult to care for. And the most infamous example of this is of course my Philodendron serpens that you can see in the intro of my videos. And I've been keeping that plant in water since it arrived at my place and it will probably stay in there forever. But anyway, let's have a look at the next plant. This is the rhaphidophora hongkongensis. I paid 12 euros for this plant, which I think is a pretty reasonable price. And to be quite honest, I had never heard about this plant before. And now that I see it for real, it actually makes me think more of a Hoya than a rhaphidophora. Now this plant is native to China and it's definitely a climber, so I will have to give it a moss pole or a stick to grow onto. And as far as I can tell, this plant looks in pretty good shape. And the same can be said about the next plant. This is an Epipremnum Enjoy Gold, for which I paid 9 euros. And I have to say, I am pretty amazed by this huge specimen. I think there's actually at least 4 different plants in this pot. And this plant reminds me a little bit of a golden pothos, with one difference, which is that the variegation on this plant is way more pronounced than on the golden pothos. Now, since this plant is already trailing quite a bit, I am tempted to propagate it right away, but I think I will probably let it be for a couple of weeks. Just a matter of letting it acclimatize to my house and then we'll see. So overall they sent me a huge healthy specimen with loads of leaves, and not one leaf got damaged during the shipping. Okay, over to the next plant. This is the Philodendron Lupinum, another plant that's very hard to get here in Belgium, and for this specimen I paid 18 euros. Now, it's not a very big plant that they sent me, but it still has quite a few nice healthy leaves. And as you might notice, the back of the leaves has this beautiful burgundy color. Now, this plant is native to Brazil. It's definitely a climber, and with its velvety leaves it definitely reminds me of the Philodendron micans. Now, the next plant I want to show you is this Epipremnum high color, for which I paid 9 euros. And to be quite honest, at first sight this plant really looks a lot like the other Epipremnum that I showed you a couple of minutes ago, which was the Epipremnum Enjoy Gold. And once again, the specimen that they sent me is actually quite huge. It's already trailing quite a bit. But have a look at both plants. To the untrained eye, I think that both plants look almost identical, which in a way makes sense because they are both hybrids from the normal golden pothos. And by the way, for the very first time I see a yellowing leaf. Alright, next up is this beautiful Philodendron Red King, for which I paid 25 euros. And I have to admit that lately I have started to really appreciate these dark-leaved philodendrons with their new leaf coming out with this brownish burgundy color. And with this specimen here you can see both the newest mature leaf with a brown color and the unfurling leaf that still has a more reddish color on it. So overall I'm pretty happy with this healthy specimen that survived the shipping perfectly. Okay, now let me show you the last plant of this unboxing. This is the Epipremnum pinnatum, for which I paid 8 euros. Now this plant looks quite healthy to me. It's already trailing quite a little bit. The leaves are already fenestrating, as you can see right here. And apparently this plant was already growing in another pot. They just pulled it out. You can see the root right here. So what I will probably do in order to save that root is to cut off that piece of the plant and pot it up in another pot. So in the end, I gotta say that all 9 plants that I received are in pretty good shape. My Dutch grower didn't let me down. And we will see in the next couple of weeks how these plants will make it. Okay, that's all that I have for today. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, please consider liking it and subscribing to my channel. Have a very nice day. Bye bye.